All right, guys. Well, the uncertainty has officially started. I'm sure some of you might have seen these comments from Virgil van Dijk already. Some of you might just be hearing about them for the first time. So basically, Virgil van Dijk was asked, if he saw himself, still at Liverpool post Klopp, and he said, that's a big question. Well, I don't know. Now, when it was pointed out to him that he had 18 months remaining on his contract, he responded, that is correct, good maths. Listen, I don't know. The club will have a big job on their hands, that is well known. To replace the manager and replace not only the manager, the staff are leaving too, and there are so many things that will change. So the club has a big job on its hands, and I am very curious which direction that will go in. But when that will be announced, we will see our situation. I can't say now. Now, he was also asked, about that. Could the change of manager, Klopp leaving, prompt other players to leave and seek, new challenges and whatnot. And he said, obviously, it would be the end of Jurgen Klopp's era. I am very glad that I am still part of it. That is why I don't like to speak about it. I am still part of it. That is my main focus now, and we will see at the end of the season. Hopefully we have the success that we all dream of and fight for each and every day. By then, there will probably be more clarification about what the club wants for the future, and then we will see. Now, it's obvious that supporters are going to read that and go, oh, no, that's just not what I want to hear. But I think it's common sense. It would apply to any of us in our lives. If you work for a company or something, maybe you haven't got the freedom to change have that freedom to jump from job to job or whatever. But maybe before committing to certain things in life, if there's ever a big change somewhere along the line, you have to wait and see, well, am I going to like this new person? Is that new person going to even want me? Then you've got to think about that as well here. Now, you would expect any manager coming in would want Virgil van Dijk, right? But it does work both ways, and it's an obvious thing. You would think a manager would want Virgil van Dijk, but I've seen people come into as a Liverpool manager over the years before, many years ago, and tear apart the team with players that were at the top of their game at the time. Maybe getting a little bit older, but Virgil van Dijk's not getting younger either. So I think it's a normal situation that. So I don't think you should be too concerned by his comments. I think it's common sense. And also at the same time, if he's negotiating a new contract or discussing a new contract, you're not going to want to give the impression that you want to stay, even if you really are wanting to stay. Because if he's like, well, we'll make a decision about it later, then people are listening to that, so you could get a better deal. I don't think Virgil's that kind of person, though, in some ways. I don't think he's someone that's going to bullshit you. He comes across as someone that's like, no, we'll see, we'll see what happens. He comes across like that, doesn't he? So I don't think he's playing games or anything. But we said this before these, on one of my streams, before these quotes came out, we said that is now, people will... the older players especially will think, right, is it time for me to move on, go out on a high hopefully with the club having won some silverware, the manager's going out on a high, now's a good time for me to go out on a high. A new manager coming in could cause some instability. I don't want to be spending my last year, being the question of it all going wrong at Liverpool, if it went wrong, if it went wrong. So the older players might think, fuck that, I'm going to play somewhere else now. The younger players, a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example, you wouldn't imagine in a million years that they would go, fuck it, I'm off. So I think it's common sense, guys. Older players renewing contracts, let's see. Even if a player's not renewing a contract, they might think, fuck it, I'm out. It's just, but it is part of the process. And it is still worrying. And I can sit here and dismiss it as much as, or try and play it down as much as possible. But it's a period of instability is looming. And if they get it wrong, the owners, it's dreadful to think what could happen. Because, I look back at Liverpool when they lost Dalglish, when I was a kid. Everything just went fucking pear-shaped from that moment on, and it took decades to be put right. Yeah, there was success in between, but we went from being this amazing, all-conquering, team to nothing, you know. And we saw what happened under Souness, and I love Souness, you know. But changes happen, and things can go wrong. They can go right. But this is why I think it's absolutely imperative that the owners get the new sporting director situation sorted as soon as possible. I think that's massive. Everyone's focus is on the manager. Like, they have to get these two appointments right, and they have to work together. Especially if you're bringing in an inexperienced manager like Alonso, then you probably want one of the best sporting directors in the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, would you want Boy George working with Alonso, which is why he's obviously leaving? You know, they don't want him. I'm not saying Alonso is definitely coming in, but it's just a stupid appointment. The fucking knock it off, guys. Any of us could have triggered them release clauses. You know what I mean? It's not exactly. Anyway, thanks, George, and all that. Anyway, let me know what you think about Virgil van Dijk. I'm sure. I don't know. I think the comments will be split. I think people will be like, "Oh, fucking hell," you know. But some people will be like, "Nah, it's just like, what else can he say?" Well, you could turn around and say, "No, I love this club. I want to commit to this club until I hang up my boots." So I guess there's that. So I don't know. It's not alarm bells for me. Just a little bit of like. But then, you know, I knew that sort of stuff was going to come anyway, really. So let me know what you think, guys.